The cloning lab aboard the Xarnathi vessel Curex. 9 was buried beneath 20 layers of security fields, vacuum seals, and sterilization chambers. Within those silent walls, the most advanced alien minds in the sector gathered around a containment pod, glowing with soft blue light. Inside floated her. Specimen H1. Human. Female. Age. 27 Earth years. No implants. No augmentations. And yet perfection. Dr. Vale, the lead xenogeneticist, flicked his tendrils across the console. Genetic stability, 99.999%. No anomalies. No mutations. She is the ideal template. No wonder her species resisted extinction. Yet her behavior is erratic, hissed Sub-Officer Elhen. She does not speak. She does not respond to pain stimuli. She just watches. The woman inside the tube opened her eyes. Not slow, not groggy. Open, focused. Vale flinched. She's sedated. No, she's pretending. The room went still. She pressed one hand against the glass. Calm, unblinking, then smiled. They had captured her during the siege of the Proxima Fringe, after an orbital strike shattered an entire human outpost. While most of the crew wanted to discard the survivors, Vale insisted they keep her. There was something different in her DNA. Too symmetrical, too balanced. As if she wasn't just evolved, but refined. The scan showed neurological patterns that pulse like starbursts, impossibly high cognitive coordination. A human weapon not made by machines. Made by nature. Or maybe time. They didn't ask where she came from. They should have. 6 cycles later, the first clone was ready. A perfect biological copy. Grown in a vat of nutrient-rich plasma, monitored by 20 machines and a Class A consciousness inhibitor. Activating motor cortex. Vale said calmly, minimal consciousness. It shouldn't awaken fully. We'll integrate memory sequences later. The clone's eyes snapped open. Every system flashed red. Consciousness spike, shouted Elhen. She's active. Shut it down. The clone moved, not convulsed, not spasmed. Moved, with precision. Her left hand shot upward, tore out the cranial wire. The sedation system surged and failed. Sparks flew. She's breaching neural dampeners. Vale screamed, but the clone had already launched herself from the vat, soaking wet, eyes empty, scanning the lab with surgical detachment. A Xarnathi guard drew his pulse blade. She ducked, grabbed his arm, snapped it backward. Another guard lunged. She used the first body as a shield. Then she bit, not out of instinct, but as a deliberate distraction. The second guard's neck cracked under a spinning elbow strike. Seal the room. Vale shrieked. The door slammed shut. Inside, for dead, one living weapon. And she wasn't breathing hard. She just stood in the middle, dripping, observing them behind the glass. She tilted her head, then smiled again. She shouldn't be this capable, Vale whispered later in the emergency chamber. The neural cortex had no input, no memories. She's improvising, Elhen said darkly. Adapting, just like the original. That word hung in the air like poison. Original. She was still in stasis. Still sealed in the suspended chamber. Still watching. Terminate both, Elhen hissed. Now. Vale shook his head. No, this is data. Living data. If we can understand this. The lights died. A low, steady sound followed. Not an alarm. A hum. She's over in the grid, one technician whispered. But how? Then the door controls blinked. Not open. Rewritten. In human English. Let me out. Vale backed away. She's not just adapting. She's learning interfaces. How? We disconnected her from the system. No, Vale said slowly, breath trembling. She is the system. Inside the lab, the clone was moving methodically, stripping weapons, rewiring doors, disassembling machines not for escape, but for understanding. She didn't try to flee. She was building something. The surveillance feed caught her drawing circuits in blood, not decoration. Blueprint. Vale muttered. This isn't a clone. It's a birth. The first stage is something else. Elhen hissed. And what do you call it? The lights flickered again. Monitors exploded. A sound echoed through comms. Not a scream. A voice. Human. Female. She is not me. They froze. Vale turned pale. That voice hadn't come from the clone. It came from the original. Still locked in stasis. Still watching. Still smiling. The screams had stopped. Not because the danger was over. Because the clone had silenced every open mouth, severed every comm line, and shattered every expectation. Lab Block Theta 9, once home to the most advanced Xarnathi cloning systems, now stood in darkness. Red emergency lights pulsed like a heartbeat. The floor was slick with coolant, blood, and something black that didn't belong to either. Dr. Vale crouched behind a fractured console, clutching a plasma scalpel like a child holding a toy. He'd seen 24 species break containment. He'd never seen one reverse engineer containment. She had disassembled the interface grid, not by force, but command line override. Lines of human code ran across the alien terminal, bending machines designed to obey only Xarnathi voices. And she never said a word. Every action was intentional, every movement part of a sequence. She wasn't trying to escape. She was trying to understand. In the mainframe core, the AI screamed in binary. Unauthorized cognitive intrusion detected. Security override locked. Fracture in data root. Then the clone silenced it. She touched one access panel. Just touched it. The lights dimmed. An entire AI fell quiet. Technicians watching remotely gasped. One of them turned to Vale, voice cracking. She's communicating with the system on a level we can't see. We don't know what she's accessing, but she's in. She shouldn't be, Vale whispered. She is. In the glass containment chamber, the original human hadn't moved, but her vitals were spiking, heart rate elevated, oxygen consumption low, brain activity off the charts. Her eyes remained open, focused, calm. Vale approached the chamber carefully. You hear me, don't you? No answer. He looked into her face, pale, human, fragile. But something behind her eyes wasn't human anymore. We cloned you, he said quietly. But she's not like you. A slow blink. Then, for the first time, the human spoke. You made her without a soul. Her voice wasn't angry. It was factual. You made her think she was alone. Vale took a step back. What is she? Your reflection, she said. What your science looks like when it mimics nature but forgets the will. Behind him, the alarms blared. The clone had just overridden the power grid, then reactivated the door to Lab Theta. She was coming back. Elhen gritted his teeth and activated the failsafe. Enough of this, he hissed. Purge the clone. Flood the lab. Burn everything inside. Vale screamed. No! We don't understand her yet. Elhen didn't listen. The lab filled with superheated gas. Plasma burned through every molecule. Weapon systems triggered. Microwaves scrambled living matter. A dozen kill mechanisms deployed in perfect harmony. No living being had ever survived a Theta purge. The flames roared. Systems beeped in completion. Target eliminated. The computer confirmed. And for one brief second, they believed it, until the door opened again, and she walked out. Her skin was scorched, clothes half-burned, blood dripping from her knuckles. But her spine was straight. Her eyes locked on Elhen. And for the first time, he ran. She didn't chase. She simply walked into the command deck. And everything obeyed her. Screens lit up. Files opened. Schematics scrolled. She didn't need to learn the systems. She had merged with them. She absorbed data through biointerface. Vale whispered, staring in awe. She's using electrical fields like synaptic signals. She is a lab. Behind the clone, the original's voice echoed through the speakers. You clone me to understand humans. A pause. But humans aren't just cells and thoughts. Another pause. We are what you can't measure. The clone looked up, and for the first time, she spoke. I know what I am now. Her voice was soft, But every system responded like a command. I am not the copy. I am the beginning. The lights died, then turned blood red. Containment seals cracked. Doors across the ship failed. Systems fell into disarray. One by one, backup reactors detonated in precise order, section by section, corridor by corridor, until the Curex-9 vessel began collapsing from the inside, not randomly, but tactically, strategically, from the inside out. Elhen barely made it to the final escape pod. Vale didn't follow. He was still watching the original, still frozen by her calm, paralyzing gaze. You made a mirror, she whispered. But mirrors don't reflect truth. They reflect fear. The clone stood behind her now, watching, waiting. The human inside the chamber nodded once, and the clone vanished into the corridor, her mission complete, but not ended. As the ship tore itself apart, the last recorded transmission from the Curex-9 wasn't a distress call. It was a warning. We cloned a human. We should have asked why they survived. The wreckage of the Xarnathi research vessel Curex-9 drifted in silent pieces through the void. No distress beacon. No survivors. No black box. But something had left that place. Something still alive, and it was walking toward inhabited space. 3 days later, in a neutral zone station orbiting Tau Cerberus, a lone human girl walked into a medical outpost wearing a Xarnathi officer's uniform. Shredded, bloody, burned. She didn't ask for help. She simply said, I need a name. The medics blinked. Do you have identification? No. Where are you from? She thought for a second, then whispered, not from a womb. They scanned her DNA. Human. Perfectly human. Too perfect. On Earth, whispers began circulating among intelligence branches. The Curex-9 had been tracking something. A specimen. Human origin. They wanted to clone it. But something went wrong. Something walked away from that lab. And now there were 2 entries with identical biometrics. One destroyed the lab. The other never moved. Until now. The original was never recovered from the Curex-9's ruins. No body. No remains. But one of the last things picked up by long-range Xarnathi probes was footage. Grainy, corrupted, but horrifying. A human woman walking through fire. Behind her, another, identical, stepping from a containment pod. And a voice. We are not copies. We are echoes. In a high-orbit black site above Mars, the clone sat in a sealed observation chamber, surrounded by the most advanced Terran security. She didn't resist when captured. She let them take her. She disassembled a lab full of aliens, walked through fire, taken a ship, and handed herself over like she'd finished her mission. Because she had. Her mission was to deliver a message, and Earth hadn't understood it yet. In her observation chamber, the clone wrote on the walls with her fingers. Not ink, just pressure. The strokes became patterns. The patterns became equations. The equations became something else. When the scientists reviewed them, they froze. She was writing predictive models. One said quietly, not physics. Then what? Behavior. Military behavior. Alien tactics. Human responses. Future probabilities. She wasn't solving problems. She was forecasting war. And she was always smiling. Then, late into one-night cycle, a power fluctuation triggered across the Mars facility. She stood and faced the door. The security officer stared through the one-way glass and said, It's impossible. Nothing is supposed to get in. Then the power cut completely. The chamber opened, and someone stepped through. A woman. Same face. Same eyes. But not the clone. The original. For the first time, they stood face to face. 2 perfect mirrors. No one breathed. No one moved. Then the original smiled slightly. You found your name yet? The clone nodded. They call me Echo. The original raised an eyebrow. Good, because I'm the sound. The facility melted from the inside within 3 minutes. No bombs, just commands. Human systems obeyed them, because the systems had been quietly rewritten for weeks, from the inside, by Echo, And now the sound had arrived. Together, they walked out of fire and into the stars. 1 week later, across the galactic core, Xarnathi High Command received a single transmission, text only, human code. You wanted to understand us. So we made something for you. She learned fast. We're both learning now. And you're out of time. Every major species began scrambling for defenses, not because humanity had built a weapon, but because humanity had become a concept, a thought that couldn't be controlled, a soul that couldn't be cloned, and a future that wouldn't be predicted. The lab didn't survive the first copy, and the galaxy wouldn't survive the second.